What's up, guys? Just want to give you a couple of quick tips before you start the jumping program. Very simple, a couple of rules to remember with every jump that you take. One of the first things that we want to remind you guys is that this program has a couple of purposes. One, to get you used to jumping again because you haven't been able to do any volleyball training with COVID shutdowns. But two, it's to practice, it's to give you a chance to practice proper jumping mechanics, which means you may not always take your highest, biggest, max out jump. There will be a couple times that you will in this program, but a lot of times you're just practicing the proper way to jump. And so I want to give you a couple tips for the proper way to jump. The main thing that we want you to remember is we want to avoid any kind of knee dive, especially on landing, but also on jumping. So when you jump, we want to be sure we don't see a lot of this, right? Jumping and landing. This is very common, and it's very common for women especially, more so than men. So when you jump, try not to let your knees dive. Either when you're jumping or landing, try instead to keep your knees in line with your toes. So jumping and landing both should occur with knees in line with the toes. Second thing we want to point out is it's important to try to land as softly as possible. You don't want to sacrifice power and speed for the sake of having the softest landing possible, but when jumping your highest, it is the best idea to try to land as softly as possible in an effort to try to dissipate how hard you land, because the harder you land, the more force is translated through the system up through the ankles, knees, hips, and you're going to be feeling that at some point in the season. So it's better to practice now landing soft in hoping that it'll translate to softer landings on the court. Finally, a couple of times you'll see box jumps sometimes to the side, a lateral box jump. Sometimes you'll see a single leg box jump or broad jump. And I just want to say that you don't have to go all out on every jump, especially when you're first starting, if you've never done a single leg box jump or something like that before. So don't be afraid. In the videos we use some medium-sized boxes. If you can get a hold of a small bench or a small box to jump onto, don't be afraid to start really small. So if you've never done a single leg box jump, maybe just grab a couple of flat 45s and stack them up together, make it about a 6 or 8 inch box and jump onto that with one foot first just to test it out. Same thing with a lateral box jump, right? Maybe you don't have a really small box like we do here. Get a couple of 45 pound plates, stack those up and jump onto that instead. Anything to build your confidence and to help you get used to that form of jumping in a safe way. So you don't always have to go max out full height. It's okay to start slow. Once you get comfortable though, feel free to push yourself. So if you know that you're confident in jumping onto a low box with one leg, feel free to push yourself and move up the next time. Or if you max out your normal box and you need to go higher, grab some flat bumper plate 45s and stack them up. Never jump onto a plate that has holes, like big grip holes in it. But if you can find some flat bumper plates like we have here in the Wellness Center and you want to stack those up and jump on top of those, that's a great idea too. Just be very careful. So to recap, make sure your knees are in line with your toes. Make sure you're trying to absorb force when you land, so soft landing. And then make sure that you start slow and build up. So by the end of the program, you should be very confident doing all the moves. But always start slow and be sure that you're confident with the jump that you're about to take so that you're putting safety first, right? And making sure that you're comfortable with all the moves. And then as you get comfortable, progress to the top of your power. So just want to give you a couple of those quick tips. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, Coach Krista, or Coach Darren. We're happy to answer those questions for you. We want to see you guys come back in the best shape you can after all these crazy restrictions. So it's important that you do the program, but it's really important that you do the program as safely as possible. So again, if you have any questions, please let us know, and we look forward to seeing you guys in a couple weeks.